This podcast is brought to you by Penji. Penji is a creative subscription service that gives you access to pre-vetted, agency-trained creatives from all over the world. From graphic design to illustrations to social media management and web development, it's all included for one monthly price. It's time to say goodbye to the hassle of searching for top-notch creative talent. With Penji, you get quality and consistency delivered right to your inbox every day. Carefully crafted for you by humans. So meet your new creative team today. Head over to penji.co for more and enter the coupon code located within the podcast show notes.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Fully Managed Podcast. Do you guys know what we do here? We talk about marketing and business tips to help assist you guys in your business journeys. And you know me, I'm your host, Penji's Partnership Coordinator. My name is Daniela. And today we have a very special guest, Eric Ritter from Digital Neighbor. Did I
Just
say
Digital Neighbor?
Yeah.
But we welcome everyone to our neighborhood, Daniela.
Sorry, I don't know why I was compelled to say neighborhood, but welcome, Eric. I'm so excited to have you on the podcast today. And to kind of get the ball rolling, get us started, can you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about what you do, what you're all about, anything that we got to know.
Yeah, no, first of all, thank you for having me. Enjoy listening to the podcast. So really happy to be on today as well. And, I'm the founder and CEO of Digital Neighbor, which is your friendly, neighborly digital marketing agency. And, my journey here being the founder and CEO and into digital marketing and entrepreneurship really has been shaped by a blend of kind of what I've gone through personally and through influential figures. I was born and raised in Germany, grew up bilingual in English and German, in English and German. And so that's kind of the trick. If you learn both languages and you're young, you don't have an accent. People always ask me that, right? So I was speaking English in the household from a young age, but I speak both languages. And kind of that third parental figure for me was Fred Rogers of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. And he's really been a significant influence in my life. Just his gentle demeanor, unwavering kindness, and genuine care for others really resonated deeply with me and has always kind of been part of my journey. Because I think that others really want to be treated with respect and compassion. And that really is what led to the formation of Digital Neighbor, because throughout my career, I just really couldn't shake the feeling that I didn't quite fit into the traditional agency, traditional companies. I was going in-house there and always was like looking for an environment where leadership, for example, was approachable, where team members really always felt valued and not just as another another cog in the machine, and where clients weren't nickeled and dimed, but treated as partners rather than just a transaction. And so that really has been pivotal kind of in the whole creation there. And that's why in 2010, I started Digital Neighbor, and we've had a fantastic time since then, right? For myself, for the team here, because my vision was always clear from the beginning to build an agency where people feel welcomed, supported, and empowered. And so I just wanted to foster that culture that prioritized kindness, collaboration, and genuine relationships. And all that carries into everything we do every day there. And outside of work, I really enjoy wine and golfing. Those are kind of my hobbies as well. But, I could talk about myself for hours here, but I'll just hand it back to you, Daniela.
That's amazing. I think what really resonated, two things really resonated with me from you, which is like, first of all, growing up bilingual. That's totally true. If you grow up speaking two languages, it's not hard at all to manage them. It's actually harder for I grew up bilingual too, so I speak Spanish and English.
Nice.
And I learned other languages later on throughout my life, but the experience was so different for like learning a language as an adult than it was when I was just kind of growing up with it. And I think
True.
It's harder for me to stick to just one language than it is to just mix them. It's so much easier for me to just think in whatever. But I also think what was really resonated with me, which is more related to the podcast, is how you spoke about kind of making people like they're not a cog in a machine. I think the way that the world is set up, the way that corporate works is very kind of, I guess, it makes it very easy for people to feel that way when they're working, especially I think when you're just getting started. Because I think as your career grows, you obviously get more power in a certain like company, and then maybe you might feel a little bit more in control of things. But I think that that's a great sort of way to lead a business with. And I want to ask you, what made you? I mean, you spoke a little bit about what your inspiration, but I'm curious about what actually made you want to keep these ideals throughout your entire career. Because I think a lot of people start with like very idealized versions of like, oh yeah, I'm going to be like super nice to my employees and I'm going to do all of this, and then once they're in practice, they don't do it because of whatever roadblocks they come into, or like they feel like, oh, I can't do this, like I need to prioritize this over this. So I'm curious like how you have been able to navigate through this whole thing and stay true to that idea.
Yeah, no, that's a great question, Danielle. And so a couple of things there. So first of all is, digital marketing, anything in digital is always changing, right? The AI is just the latest threat to everything that we do. But I think the one thing that's always constant is creating a culture, right? It's in that ever evolving landscape that we're kind of in with technology. I wanted to, at Digital Neighbor, really live up to our mission, which is kind of having that I call it neighborly, right? So that just kind of flows off my tongue. What does that mean? That means being transparent, being kind, being approachable, right? And so I think kind of making that, when I create the mission, vision, and values for the agency, really embedding kindness into all of those aspects there that people look at. I think was really, really helpful there to kind of keep us on course, and to make sure that we're always collaborating, that people are always reminded of that. So if someone comes on as a new employee, they're indoctrinated, let's say, right, with that culture of kindness, with treating each other with respect and everything. And even it goes into our statement of works with our clients. There's a kindness clause, right? That we ask our clients to be kind, right? To be responsive, to be respectful, and be transparent with us, right? And we literally say, like, if you don't want to fulfill the kindness clause, we don't want to work with you, right? So we've kind of made that decision that the people that we create relationships with internally and externally, we want them all to subscribe to that. And so, is it always been easy? No, absolutely not. But it's kind of been our North Star, is always falling back on that and making decisions around that, and realizing that, we're all humans, and we want everything to revolve around that. And our business decisions, because of that, they're made in a more democratized way, right? While for example, I'm the owner and I'm the founder, at the end of the day, for me, the more important thing is that what's good for everyone, for the employees, for staff, for contractors, is good for the company, right? Because there's studies out there, even just from a business standpoint, from like McKinsey and Company, is if people are happy and you have a great culture, people are going to be more productive, and ultimately clients are going to be more satisfied, right? And so kind of seeing those success metrics has helped kind of keep us on that course.
That's so interesting, and I think you touched on AI being sort of the newest thing to threaten, I guess, the blue collar workers and everything.
Yeah.
You actually find that is I think in different spaces the threat feels different. But do you actually feel like your workforce and the people that you're with, your clients or whoever it is that you're interacting with, are genuinely feeling this type of fear all the time of being replaced by an AI? And how do you actually motivate them? Because I feel like if you get too into your head with stuff like that, it probably affects your own productivity.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, Daniela. And the way I look at AI and the way I talk to everyone about it, it's just another tool, right? It's just another evolutionary process Actually, not. Let's not. It's not evolution. It's revolutionary, right? It's a big, big deal. I don't want to diminish it, right? It's like when fire came out, when someone invented the wheel, when the tractor came out. When you have all these big inventions they're scary, and everybody's kind of like, what are we going to do with this? The tractor is going to replace everybody on the fields, right? We're not going to be. The whole village used to be out there plowing the field. Then the tractor came out. Now it's one person, and everyone else, needs to find something else to do. And here we are, hundreds of years later, and we made it through that. To me, AI is no different than that. It's a tool, like when the hammer, you just need to know how to use it. And that's my optimistic approach to it. Is it scary? Absolutely. Our clients, or even let's say it this way, there's sales during sales conversations, people are like, why is content so expensive? Can't you just AI it? Or why am I paying for you to do anything on the creative side, right? The solution for everyone's like, oh, I can just chat GPT that. And I'm like, no, you can't. You absolutely cannot, right? You need a human to come up with that creative spark, to kind of have that input, have that unique thesis. AI can be a tool. It's like a junior copywriter. Hey, you come up with a headline, give me 3 other options, or let's kind of work on this together. But you cannot use it as a starting point. And then a human on the end needs to quality control it. So for us internally, we're embracing it. I force everyone to use it kind of as a tool so you understand it. Whether it's ChatGPT or it's Claude, because we do a lot of writing. And from our clients, it's really been more of a, help us understand this, how we can use it, from an automation standpoint. So we do a lot of lead generation for clients. And so we record phone calls, we look at their forms, we look at their emails, and AI can help us analyze that. Was this a good phone call? Was this a good form fill, right? And that's not taking anyone's job away. No one was doing that before, right? We were just kind of like, hey, we got 10 leads, great. Now AI is there and can tell us 2 of those 10 leads were actually good because it analyzed them and it looked for certain keywords. So it can be very empowering there. But you mentioned like the blue collar worker out there, and absolutely, I do have personally, just me as a human being, am I concerned for fellow people out there? Absolutely.
I think what's interesting to me is how like diverting the takes are. And I think, at least for right now, I think for what I noticed, AI is more just helping people, and a lot of the stuff that AI is replacing is things that people didn't want to do in the first place. Like
Yes.
I have a sibling who is she's like a video editor, right? And she used to have to like manually look and do stuff to get a transcript out of a video.
Right.
Um,
Yep.
because you couldn't get it through an AI. And now like AI will automatically generate it for you. And you can basically just modify it when the AI picks up on weird sound. And she's like, that just saves me so much time. And like having to listen to a video and write the subtitles was incredibly frustrating and insufferable. So I'm thinking like, yeah, I mean, I can see how like the use of this in that specific scenario would be helpful. And then applying it to different situations, I can see how in a lot of instances AI is very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not like enough. I don't think I'm knowledgeable enough to know if it's actually replacing jobs or if it's, I feel like it's not a tool that's perfected enough to actually replace a person.
No, and just to jump in there, Daniela, so we've used it as well for video transcripts, right? Like you see like the reels or whatever where it's the transcript underneath. And, back to my point that you need to have a human in there. AI doesn't know this the spelling of two. Did I mean two for number two as well, or two as to, and it misspells it. And I see it all the time, on the captions. And I'm like, that's why we need a human at the end, like just to quality control it and make sure that it was actually done correctly. Because to your point, does it speed things up, make things easier? Absolutely, but still a tool that someone needs to come in and then make sure that the tool did the job correctly.
Yeah. I think it's especially with like I can assume, because I know you guys do a lot of work with SEO, that SEO
Mm-hmm.
has been affected, because I do think that people use search engines differently, because a lot of people are going into ChatGPT directly to ask like something.
Oh,
And
yeah.
even if you Google something, I've noticed that when I Google, like, I don't know, like I'll Google ancient Rome, right? Like I'll just Google that term and then immediately I'll get a response before the search results that's just explaining what ancient
Yep.
Rome is. And so I don't even need to scroll through links now because I'll get the answer from Gemini. Whether it's accurate or not, I've noticed that, and like people kind of just take that as like, okay, here's my answer. This is the ultimate truth, right? Or like you'll Google convert this to this, right? Like, and you just get the answer on top, or like doing it through ChatGPT. So I think, like, I'm assuming that it probably has affected how SEO works or is going to be affecting SEO, because I do see kind of that seed of how searching has changed now that ChatGPT has been introduced, or like, and other, I think, AI services. I think ChatGPT was just
Yeah.
kind of the biggest one, right? But I keep seeing more of them roll out.
Oh, absolutely. And that's a fantastic point, right? Like Bing partnered with ChatGPT early on and kind of rolled it into their search engine. Then you mentioned on Google, you have the AI overviews at the top, right? That are giving you the direct response that you don't even need to click through to a website. And then people are searching on ChatGPT, Search GBT there. And that's a concept I call search everywhere, right? People are still searching. They're just searching different places in different ways, right? So just for example, your ancient Rome search query, if you search for that on Google, you optimize your website, you create all these blog posts about ancient Rome. Someone comes to your website. Does that really do you any good? Probably not, because it's just traffic looking up that fact and leaving right away. So that wasn't a quality lead, or a quality visit. But if you are a company, that's selling, let's say maps of ancient Rome, right, or the Roman Empire, then you want to come up for that, and that's not always going to AI overview at the top isn't going to be able to answer search queries of where to buy things, where to find things, where to get them. That's where SEO is shifting more towards those transactional searches and those commercial intent searches, not just those informational searches that, if you really look at it objectively, are just wasted energy anyway. Why do I want people to come to my website if they just have an informational search? Let the AI answer that. But if they're looking where to buy the best sneakers or the best headphones, that's what I want to optimize for and bring them to my website. So that's what we're really shifting towards, is figuring out the searcher intent and then where they're searching. Like you said, we work with a lot of law firms, and we're starting to see, probably 25% of leads are coming from ChatGPT. So people searching on there for the best personal injury attorney, slip and fall attorney near me on ChatGPT. And it's crazy to me, because I honestly, and I'm just going to out myself, I haven't even thought of that. But the data is showing that a lot of other people, that's becoming their search engine of choice, because it doesn't have ads. It's super slick and super straightforward. And Google has just kind of dug its own grave by becoming overly complicated and having ads everywhere. And people just want to have a quick, easy experience.
Google kind of makes you work harder for it, I think.
Yeah.
You have to sort of scroll and go through different pages. And I think a lot of times Google will show you like the snippet of where your answer is, but you actually have to go into the website and then read just to find that paragraph. Whereas ChatGPT will probably just give you the straightforward answer, especially if you're looking to like do an actionable thing.
Yeah, no, 100%. So because ChatGPT actually goes to the website and pulls it out. So a great example is, I was getting back into running, and so I went to Google best running shoes. What do I get? I get a whole bunch of websites I have to click into, the 10 best running shoes, or 12 best running shoes, whatever, where ChatGPT just says, here's the 5 best running shoes that I found based on looking at all the websites. And it just already creates my own personal result there that I don't have to click into anything. And then I can ask follow-up questions like, okay, cool. Now, which of these come in blue, or which ones are in my size? And ChatGPT's giving me all those answers. So to your point, is I don't have to work and go to the website, because I go to the website, and what does that website have? It has ads everywhere, right? And now I'm dealing with that. It's slowing down the experience and everything. So absolutely, that's a great observation, Danielle, that Google just makes you work so much harder to get the answer.
I also feel like, because that companies can sort of do things to boost themselves up on search, even
Yeah.
if it's like a list of the top 10 best sneakers, that there's probably some motive there feel like ChatGPT
Yeah.
adds a layer of trustworthiness, whether it's a true answer or not, because it makes you feel like, okay, this person just like ChatGPT just pulled the information and gave me an
Yeah.
average instead of trying
Yeah.
to like a certain brand because of like any other reason.
No, that's such a great point, and I didn't mention it earlier, but I actually am a faculty member, adjunct professor at the local university, University of South Florida, where I teach digital marketing. And I've noticed over the last couple, probably 2, 3 years, kind of the trend from students that they don't trust Google, right? Like I'm out there in front of the class, I'm like, hey, da da da, Google search, and I've slowly realized like students are like, we don't trust Google, right? To your point, is people are manipulating the results, people are paying to get up there. And I'm like, well, how do you guys find results? Like, oh, we search on TikTok. Like, if I want to go know a
Oh
ramen
yeah.
restaurant, right? I'd be like, best ramen restaurant, Orlando, Florida. And then I go on TikTok and find it there. And I'm like, what? And that just blew my mind, right? So that's part of optimization now, too. How do you optimize your TikTok video to come up when people are searching? So it just depends on your industry, right? And that's back to where I mentioned search everywhere, understanding where your target audience is searching and coming up there, because it's not just the AI. It could be TikTok, it could be Instagram, it could be Pinterest, right? That people are trying to find you. Like I said, the I don't even know what it is now, Gen Y, Gen Z, right? That I'm teaching at the university. Like, yeah, we don't use Google, we don't trust it, right? To your point, because they've grown up with it and they've kind of seen it makes you work. There's ads everywhere, people are manipulating it, But if I go to TikTok, or I'm going to have a real genuine person giving me that response. And if I go to ChatGPT, it's being more objective and giving me kind of the answer there.
Yeah, I think what's interesting is that TikTok, I would argue, is also not completely honest. I've used TikTok for searches, for traveling, because you mentioned restaurants, right? Like when
Yeah,
I've traveled, I've sometimes gotten like recommendations of places from TikTok. But I feel like it happens that a lot of people will post the same place and talk about the same place and sensationalize like certain things or places because they're popular or because a lot of other TikTokers are going. And when you actually show up to these places, they're so, I mean, I remember this might be a little bit of a tangent, but when I went to Hong Kong, there's this, I don't know if you know anything about Hong Kong, but there is this
very
street,
little.
there's this popular spot for photographs that is kind of, you're standing there and then behind you there's like a massive building of apartments, and it kind of just really showcases what Hong Kong is meant to be because it's got this like cyberpunk vibe, right?
Nice. Yeah.
And the this place is super popular. Like it's like one of the biggest tourist attractions in Hong Kong. And when I was going, I did my research. I was like, okay, we got to go there. We got to take that picture. We show up like to this place, and it was because I had seen so many people on TikTok and Instagram kind of talking about going there and posting the videos and the pictures, but they were only posting that one spot. And when I got there, I realized it was just an apartment building. It was just an apartment, like a suburban area with a bunch of apartments. And we were literally at the back of the apartments, and there was a big trash can. And we were taking pictures in the trash can because the trash can was big, so it was elevated. So you could get on top of the trash can
Mm-hmm.
and then get an angle, and then you had like all of the buildings there, right? And the picture looked really cool, but it was like a nothing of the city, and it was just a bunch of other tourists like me bothering the locals who lived in this apartment building to take pictures in a trash can because they were popular on social media. And I think like it was probably one of the first instances where I learned like, yeah, this is ridiculous. Like why did I even come here? And I think like because I, like you said, like I did kind of use a lot of my knowledge based off of like what I saw and like other influencers and social media, what they
Yeah.
were saying, like, oh, this is what to do in Hong Kong. This is the places that you should go to. And I think I don't think it's necessarily the most genuine. Like I genuinely think that we're still not at a place where like any kind of service or like engine can provide the most, I guess, amazing search for you. You kind of have to look through all of these and then weed out what you're interested in and what you think is good.
No, I couldn't agree more. And just for the listeners out there, there's this concept I think Google came up with 15 years ago. It's called the zero moment of truth. And so the zero moment of truth is that moment where you are searching for something, trying to figure something out. And then before you make that decision, you get as much information as possible. And it's called that zero moment of truth. And Google, of course, it is Google propaganda. It's like, oh, everybody's searching on Google and looking at all the Google stuff. But you think about it still applies today is, people need to understand that zero moment of truth, that you need to look at everything from all angles. You can't just look at it from one angle or just search one place there. You need to do your own research there, or else you're going to end up on a trash can in Hong Kong to do it for the talk, right? Isn't that what the kids say? I'm trying to be hip here, Daniela. Okay.
Yeah, I really did. I ended up in a trash can in Hong Kong.
Yeah, so do your research.
Yeah. No, and I had to go out of my way to get there because it wasn't even close to other tourist attractions. Like it took me a minute to get there. That's the worst part. Like,
so funny.
Yeah. So I think that that's very interesting.
But you got a great story out of it, at least.
Yeah, I mean, I learned my lesson because I think that after that, I've sort of always learned to take things with a grain of salt. If I can talk to someone who's from a place before going, I always recommend that because I think locals are interesting because they'll give you perspectives that are localized, but they'll also tell you what the tourist traps are.
Yeah, that's what you want. Exactly.
Yeah, but it's really cool. Moral of the story, don't trust Google and don't trust TikTok. Don't trust anybody.
Just trust yourself.
Trust yourself, yeah. But we are nearing the end of the podcast, Eric, but I do want to ask you some kind of more fun questions. I think it's really interesting that you've been dubbed SEO sommelier.
I don't know. It's French, so I don't speak French either. I say sommelier, but I don't know if that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, SEO sommelier.
Sommelier. Yeah, what does that mean? Like I thought, because like that sounded to me like wine, and when I was
It is. Yeah. So you can see the corks behind me for those watching the video, right? So as I mentioned, I grew up in Germany, right? And I grew up surrounded by vineyards. So from a very young age, I kind of saw how wine can bring people together and create community. So I was always drawn to that. And so the SEO sommelier combines my two passions for search engine, search everywhere, and wine. And just like a sommelier, he's someone who comes to the table, who explains wine to you. And you don't need to understand every aspect of wine to enjoy it and have a good glass of wine with your meal. And just like that, I want to make SEO, search engine optimization, approachable to everyone so everyone can enjoy it and benefit from it without understanding every single aspect that goes into it.
That's amazing. I think because I wasn't sure, and then I was wondering why it was SEO sommelier, and I kind of Googled it. It said that it was kind of like the expert that's like explaining wine to you, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not. So people always get confused. Are you an actual sommelier? I'm absolutely not. So I don't ever want to claim I am, because I have a friend who's a sommelier, and he said it's like basically going back to grad school. And I'm like, I've had enough school. I don't need to go back. I just want to enjoy wine. I don't need to be a full sommelier.
All right, that's amazing. Thank you. And the other question that I wanted to ask you is, outside of work, what is one interest that you have that people might not know about you?
Yeah. So besides wine and golfing, is I have an unhealthy obsession with nut butter. So it started with peanut butter, and I love peanut butter. And then I discovered almond butter, cashew butter, sunflower seed butter, and all these nut butters. And that's my vice. And so it's become kind of unhealthy that I always have a jar of peanut butter open, and I love the natural stuff, right? So just the nuts, nothing else in there. And that's probably something people don't know about me.
That's amazing. That's so cool. That's a great way to end the podcast on. I think we've learned that you like wine and nut butter. So if I ever give you a Christmas present, I'll know what to do.
Perfect.
But before I let you go, I do want you to tell people where they can find you. If you want to plug anything, if you want to just talk, I want to give you the space to say anything that you want to say. And if anything resonated with our audience. The floor is yours.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Daniela. And I hope everyone enjoyed the conversation here. I had a blast. If you want to learn more about me, go to digitalneighbor.com for my agency. If you're not sick and tired of my voice, you can check out my podcast. It's called The Search Bar. Just search for The Search Bar, where I use my alter ego, the SEO sommelier, to help break down marketing and make it a little bit more fun and approachable to people. So that's where my plugs are: my podcast, The Search Bar, and my company, digitalneighbor.com.
Awesome. I will be adding the links to that on the description of this video. And thank you so much for being on the podcast today, Eric. I had a lot of fun.
As did I. Thank you so much, Danielle. I really appreciate you having me.
Thank you, guys. I'll see you on the next episode.
You've been listening to Fully Managed, brought to you by Penji. Check out the show notes to learn more about today's guest, and to learn more about Penji, the human-first creative subscription service, head over to penji.co. And by the way, if you're still listening, it would mean the absolute world to us if you were to share this podcast with a friend and, of course, subscribe.